STS9, Sound Tribe, Sector 9, making good songs that I like to listen to. What a good show up on stage at the festival. Oh, it's STS9, they make great music. They make post-rock dance music. Everybody loves to listen to it. That post-rock dance music. Oh, STS9. They're so wonderful all the time. They combine lots of noises to make amazing music. And I la 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 love to listen to it. Oh yeah. I go to music festivals and I'm always so happy when I see that STS9 will be playing at it. Oh my, STS9. They give it 100% every time. Oh, Sound Tribe, Sector 9. I love to listen to them all the time. They got amazing rhythms. How do they do it? How do they do it? Oh my goodness. They keep on coming up with more amazing stuff. Oh my goodness.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 13 of Podular. I'm here with my co-host Scotty and a very special guest, our first installment of the Fan Spotlight series. It is Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. Scotty, no, you haven't seen that video before. Immediate reactions.
Dude, I need to completely recollect myself after that. That was there's nothing you could have done could have prepared me for that.
That's what we're aiming for.
What the fuck was that? Did you make that?
No, well, first of all, welcome, Jim.
Yes,
Valued listener, now
welcome, Jim.
Valued guest, hopefully
As if we're
recurring
not
guest.
into it already.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
No, I appreciate you being here, man. Welcome to the show, and we're super pumped to have you on as the kind of first of the Fan Spotlight series here. But yeah, tell us a little bit about that intro song here.
Please.
All right. Well, again, the pleasure is all mine, boys. That song is by the illustrious Matt Farley. He goes by several other aliases. I think he's written somewhere around 25,000 songs.
Excuse me?
He's written.
Who the fuck is this guy?
He is a internet sensation. He's been on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. He's just a prolific songwriter. Chances are he's written a song about where you grew up, places you've been. I mean, just search your hometown in Spotify, and chances are you'll find one of his songs.
So walk me through this. So is this guy like a gun for hire? Like, hey, write a song about Swiss cheese, and he just spits some fire on Swiss cheese?
Essentially, yes. He does things on his own, but this one was definitely provoked by my friends and I. Ben Bedar, shout out. Matt Farley, in some of his songs, he'll put his phone number in the song and say,
okay,
hey, if you want to talk to me about, for example, STS9, call me at da 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 da. And we, after an STS9 show, believe it or not, called this number. We were having many laughs listening to his songs. We asked him ultimately to write a song for one of our friends, but then also we asked him to write a song about STS9.
So did he come
He
in
also
with
has an amazing song about the Disco Biscuits.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the timestamp, we first got in contact with him 2015 at the Philadelphia show, Fillmore, Philadelphia, and that came out, I think, like July 2016.
Okay.
So
was he
worked on
familiar
it for a while? Yeah.
Was he familiar with them? Did he were you like, hey, make a song about STS9? And he was like, oh, I fucking love those guys. Or did he know nothing about them?
I don't think he knew anything about them. If you pay attention to the lyrics, it kind of sounds like he's just singing a description of the band.
Yeah.
And kind of just improvising from what he's finding out from what he's reading. That's
He
what I'm
really,
gathering from it.
yeah, he really hooked onto the post-rock dance music,
Yeah.
but he
Everybody
knows
loves to
that
listen to it.
they've got really great rhythms and they just keep coming up with stuff. How do they do it?
Do it.
I can't believe I've never heard that.
It is a sleeper gem. More people need to know about that. And I think this will be the impetus and more people finding out about Matt Farley and that wonderful song about that wonderful band we all love.
Yes.
Oh my God, man.
And that's what brings us here today. And there are a lot of reasons that we wanted to have you on the show. And one of the biggest ones, you just hit the 200 mark. You've been seeing shows since 2007, and I mean, you're just an outstanding energy at shows. Your ability to speak about the band is great. You're a musician yourself, so a lot of things we want to unpack here today and get into. But I guess we'll start at the beginning, man. Chapter one, or I guess preamble. First show, and then did you know about STS9 before, or were you kind of going in blind and learned them that way, or kind of give us the origin story a little bit?
All right. So my first STS9 show was at Lollapalooza 2007. Lollapalooza started coming to Chicago exclusively in 2005. I had gone before that, but in 2005 kind of made the conscious effort to, hey, every time this comes to Chicago, I'm going to go.
How old are you at the time? Not to age you, but
At 2007, 17.
okay, cool.
17 years old. A young
Cool.
buck.
We're the same
Lot to
age.
learn. And so went into it at Lollapalooza at the time was just those lineups are so huge and vast, and there's just such a level of discovery for me as a young kid there. A lot of times before, I would just kind of skim the lineup, look for, I don't know, names that sounded intriguing, you know, just kind of do some research about stuff I didn't know about, see if I would like it or would be worth checking out, or maybe I'd like it later on. But Sound Tribe Sector 9, needless to say, popped off the page. I didn't have an inkling about who they were. That name alone, I was just like, this sounds like it might be rad. And I think Lala at the time had like a featured artist page where they do like two of the artist songs from the lineup or whatever. I want to say it was like Instantly an Open E or something that they had on there. And I was like,
Nice start.
I think I'm going to go see this band. I think they were one of the first bands to play during that time slot of that day. Is at the Grant Park stage, which is there in Grant Park all the time. It's where the Bulls celebrated championship wins, where the Hawks celebrate Stanley Cup wins. So very, very cool place to see him for the first time. And, I walked into it totally blind. And my friends and I were pretty much immediately hook, line, and sinkered. Song I can remember hearing, I definitely remember hearing Instantly, but I think the first song I remember hearing them play was Unquestionable Supremacy of Nature, which is just an absolute banger. And that's how you're going to find out what this band is all about, that song. It's a blend of,
Okay.
instrumentation, it's electronic chaos. It's, these high building melodies, these crescendos. And I was just like, whoa. And it was during the daytime. I think Saxon was on lights, but there wasn't much you could really see going on. But they did have a side screen going on. There's lots of like morphing of images and like kind of just trippy visuals they're laying over the band members and stuff like that. And it was pretty much game over from there.
Okay.
I was instantly sold, no pun intended.
So so Lala 07 is the first show. I got kicked out of the Tribe stat page when I went to go reference this, but I believe the next show was over a year later, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
before getting to the next show, a little bit more about Lollapalooza in that year. Later that weekend, Daft Punk played that stage. That was my first Lollapalooza as well. And Jim, I used to do the same as a Chicago kid. Lollapalooza used to be way cooler than it is now. It's still cool. It's still
Yeah,
pretty awesome. And
it
I'd
was
love
just
to see them
different.
go back. Yeah. But you'd go on the website, you click on a name that sounded cool, and you listen to a few songs and you put together who you'd end up seeing that day. I didn't make it to STS9 that day. That could have
Oh,
been my first show, but it
I'll
wasn't
I'll have
until
a I'll have a follow up for that here in a second too. But Daft Punk, yes, that was probably my greatest humble brag to be able to say I saw Daft Punk. Little
yeah.
did I know what I was even walking into there as well.
Oh, I had no
And
idea. Yeah.
yeah, and little did I know I'd never have a chance to ever see him again. So
That's a little bit about Lollapalooza there for you, Scotty. So,
that's very cool. So you go. So about a year later, your second show. I'm sorry, I don't remember. I don't have it in front of me. But
it was Northerly Island in July of 2008.
okay.
And this was when they were on tour with Umphreys. I think they were doing a little bit festival circuits as well. But leading up to that, my first camping festival I ever attended was Rothbury 2008.
Okay.
And long story short, there, I was very excited to see STS9. They were going to play a long marathon set. Some of y'all might know about it. It's like a 3 hour into the break of dawn type STS9 throwdown. Um, I slept through that. And that's kind of what set the fire for me to be like, I think I'm going to double, triple down now because I may have made a horrible mistake.
oh my God, I'd never do that.
Yeah. So, and
It-
I went with all my friends who were equally stoked. And I think I just, maybe hit day one a little bit too hard. I said, I'm going to take this little nap during Dave Matthews Band. Come wake me up later. I don't recall being woken up until people were coming back to the campsite saying how cool STS9 was. And
Uh-huh.
and it wouldn't be the last time. That's the
no,
thing.
not at all. Not at all.
That's a great story.
So then that led me to immediately a couple weeks later go and see them in Chicago, the first opportunity I had. And again, it was with Umphreys. They opened the show. Chill show. But not quite the headliner show I was waiting for, which again was another year after that. I saw
Right.
them at the historic Congress Theater, as us Chicago's all know and maybe don't love so much.
R.I.P.
Um, Lots of great times. I probably saw over 100 shows at that damn place. But yeah, Pretty Lights open for STS9 at that one, and then we all know the story there. Next thing you know, Pretty Lights is bigger than STS9 almost.
Mhm. Yeah. So is it around this point that you decide, you said I decided to double and triple down. This is kind of when you become we jokingly call a crazy person about this band.
It's not a joke. We're crazy. We're crazy.
Yeah,
We're absolutely insane.
what do you say, Nate? That we're normal people about everything else, and we're fucking psychos about this band?
I'm starting to think we're getting less and less normal, but that's all right.
So tell me about the first time you went on the road. What provoked that? Who were you with? Yeah.
It was 2009 was about the first time I started like kind of having the means to go to multiple shows,
Sure.
kind of start mapping out like, hey, they're going to be here, here, and here. Which ones can we make? Can we make them all? Things of that nature. First started, saw them in Milwaukee. It was really kind of just like Midwest tour starting
Okay.
2009, 2010 area. One of my notable first shows when I was like kind of out on the road was Brandon Pearl's first show. Shout out B Pearl. The Milwaukee Rave show with Big Gigantic and Ghostland Observatory.
Yep.
Back in the day, you could actually wait after the show and they would burn you a physical copy CD of the show.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was for a small window in 2009. But if I look real hard, I bet I have a few of those CDs somewhere.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so I think, but yeah, Midwest tour kind of started. It was like Milwaukee, Grand Rapids, St. Louis, places like that. And then, it turns into, oh, you got to go see them in the South. Oh, you got to go to New Year's. And, game over
Well,
there.
You actually went and saw him at another pretty legendary venue before you went and saw him in the South, and I think that brings us to our first clip, doesn't it, Nate?
I think it does here. And I think this clip will get us kind of talking a little bit about just the Murph era a little bit. You've seen a lot more. Me and Scotty saw some Murph shows, but you've seen a lot more than we had at the time. And we just want to get you talking a little bit about the Murph era as well. And I think this clip does a pretty good job capturing that sonically, visually, everything like that. So we'll let it speak for itself here.
Hell yeah, you brought a video? Fits in a button down is a vibe.
We're about to get into the essence of Murph right here.
That was sexy.
Ooh, is that our first Murph video clip?
First Murph video clip, I think it is.
Glad to bring it to you guys.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one.
Really, man. Red Rocks 2010. That was my first Red Rocks run. Man, that was something else. Drove out there with my man Timmy Beck, rest in peace, real one. He was always one of the first to say, "Let's get in the car, let's go to the show. I don't care how far it is, let's go." So we drove out there. Boulder Theater 2010 was absolutely insane. At that point, as a fan, it was like all the headiest shit you could possibly hear.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that show's
that
insane.
that perfect meld of like that.
Yeah, and
the residuals of the 07 era and the new 2010 era. Yeah, totally.
And what a perfect opening to a Red Rocks weekend. And that clip right there, I made sure that I was front row at Red Rocks. That was my first Red Rocks. I wanted to be in there. And I was definitely up there jamming. I remember security seeing me the second day. They're like, "Hey, I remember you." Like, because I was born again. And I was like, "Yeah, man, like, what's going on? Good to see you." And he's like, "Where are you from, dude?" And I was like, "Yeah, Chicago." He's like, "I'm from Naperville." I was like, "No, you don't say."
Wow.
And like right before STS9 started, he gave me a wristband. He's like, "Here, come on down here." And it was like the front, like ADA section.
Yeah, like the handicap section.
More front row than I wanted to be. And I was like, damn, I'm so glad I came out for this.
That is awesome. And yeah, I think like we're looking for an essence of Murph clip. And again, you've seen more Murph shows than anybody in this room.
81 to be exact.
81 Murph shows. Nice. Talk to us a little bit about Murph, what you loved about him, the kind of the sound during that era. Just kind of give us a rundown of your feelings about, that STS9 era.
All right. Well, I mean, that was the guy, he made you feel welcome at any show. "How y'all doing? Thank y'all so much." And just like, "Oh, y'all, there's little teddy bears out there." And just like he just had that southern drawl, and like he made everyone feel like, this was a big family event. That's the best thing I could say about Murph, is he was such a welcoming frontman. His sound definitely different than Alana's. He's kind of got that raptor, as they say, little head vibe going.
Oh yeah.
There is perfect. He's got the mix of like the MIDI bass going on, where you get real crunchy with it, but then come right back to some melodic bass, to some, harmonics happening. And like that was the best era. I mean, it was just really tasteful. That's who ushered this in, right?
Yeah. It's got like a fuzzy, warm sound to it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that modulus bass he would rock. It was like kind of growling at you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really cool to see Hunter on the modulus too there.
I miss that
Because
guitar. And I was gonna say in regards to that clip, um, not to get off topic, but did you guys ever have a song from STS9 that you just like had to keep playing back, like when you first got into them? Was there like
It
a
was actually
song?
it was aimlessly actually for
Same,
me.
same.
hmm
I think I
Some
played it back
some
30 times before I went further into a set.
yeah, some sing probably had some of those qualities for me too, but I'm trying to remember if that was, I think something was probably the first song I ever heard. But
yeah,
aimlessly is the first one where I was like, I've never heard a band make these noises before.
Yeah, that
What
gave
is
me a serious earworm, and I was just like, run that back. Run that back again.
what about you, Nate?
yeah. So I think I've talked about it before. Aimlessly from Live as Time Changes was the
Oh yeah.
first song I've heard, and it definitely sunk its teeth into me, sunk its hooked into me
That
really
is a
quick.
unique track. Like that's a
Hit,
really signature track right there.
Hidden Hand, Hidden Fist, and then like man, like when I really started to dive into their catalog, one was Reemergence. I was just I just needed to hear even just like the first 45 seconds of it, like to just hear all those like atmospheric sounds going on. I'm like,
Ambience, yeah.
I just gotta hear that. Just play it back.
Actually, the first time I caught a reemergence was at, I don't know whose 200 show it was, but it was back in 2010 at the pageant. I remember Murph goes, happy 200 to whoever, and they do reemergence and 4 Year Puma, I think.
Woo.
Someone was wanting some old school.
Yeah.
Hitting 200 in 2010 is heady as
That's
fuck.
super high. I don't know who that is, but shout out
What
to
the
you. If your 200 show was pageant 2010, then
That's
God bless you.
amazing. Good for
That's
you.
fire.
Wonder
Yeah,
where they're sitting at now.
my first reemergence, I believe, was your first or your 118th show at Dominican Holidays.
There you go. There you
Um,
go.
so just a lot of that stuff coming together here too. But really cool stuff too. I know you've got another video clip that you shared with us here, which is really cool. Something I hadn't known about. I've heard this show a bunch of times and watched a bunch of videos of it. Were you at Gates Opera Hall?
Yes, I was. That was the first New Year's run I went to. I actually took an Amtrak from Chicago. I don't know why I did
Oh,
that, but really stupid idea, but we live and we learn.
I've always wanted to do that. Just
It
to
was
say I've
fun.
done it.
I took a train down with some friends. It was fun. It was like, 20 some hours on the train or whatever. Just pretty much getting drunk the whole time.
yeah,
Yeah.
you raised the
And
bar cart for
yeah,
sure.
exactly.
And
And
now we have Bluetooth speakers. Like, yeah, it can
the
really
game
make
has
it
changed.
crazy.
But yeah, we got down there. I remember getting the ticket for Axe the Cables, which was an extremely hard ticket to get because it's the first time they ever did that. No one had any clue what they were going to do, what they were going to play, how they were going to play it. But I remember getting my ticket off Craigslist, actually. Thankfully, a
Back when
legit
you could do
ticket.
that.
Thankfully,
Yeah.
a legit ticket. And then later on, they released a couple more tickets for like charity, which a couple of my friends ended up getting because I was the only one who had one before. And they ended up paying, I think, half the price I did, and they were in a better seat than I was. But I was still
So,
happy to be there.
You were there.
But yeah,
yeah.
it was an incredible night. The energy in there was crazy. And yeah, I wanted to share this clip with you guys because I figured it was a lesser known fact. I don't know how many people know about this gem of Zach Velmer on bass during Life Sweet Breath. But
Yeah.
let's check it out, Nate.
Let's roll it.
What are you playing?
Accordion.
That was so fucking cool.
So is that the end of the first set?
That was the encore of the film.
There we go.
They played a lot of really like pretty slow stuff that night, but man, the roof came off that fucking place when they played Low Swaga. It was
Maybe for the first time ever in the history of that song, maybe, right?
yeah, especially at that time, there was a lot of
Yeah.
heat around that song. Talks about kittens dying when it was played. But
And look at us now.
That changed some people's mind.
Yeah, like, well, now we're at age of 15-minute Los Swagas where like, oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
you look back on that like outlook of that song and it's silly. And it's funny to tell that to newer fans where they're like, wait, the people were saying what about Los Swaga?
Yeah.
That's the greatest hit song of STS9. It's on the greatest hit song.
Another one like that. Another one like that is One a Day. It's like you tell somebody that just got into this band 3 years ago. Yeah, people used to hate that song. It's like, what? What are you talking
That I
about?
don't understand.
Want a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you is what I would say to Want a Show.
But yeah, Zach on the bass there, pretty
Something
cool.
elusive, something different.
Yeah.
I don't think many people knew about there.
I've seen that before. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
That was like
lineup of the band where they're like,
yeah,
like that's pretty dope. Some
Yeah.
gangster shit.
that might if we ever get Zach on here, that might be the first clip we repeat because I would like to just ask him about that and his history with that instrument and if there's any more to talk about there.
Yeah, I'd love to know too.
Yeah,
That's cool.
he looks so natural behind a drum set. Like
Yeah.
it's like really interesting to see him do anything else. Like his DJ sets, he's got the funniest dance moves. Like, and, like
I love you,
you
Zach
could like
Ballmer.
that bass looks so big.
I know.
And then yeah, Jeffrey on the harmonium. I always wanted to talk to someone like that new Soma with the harmonium, which is pretty much like a sit down accordion.
Yeah.
How quickly did people realize that they're starting with new Soma with that? Because it's just like a completely new sound behind it.
Yeah, I think you can kind of hear in the soundboard when you play it back, there's just like that kind of like 10-second pause of like
Yeah.
the connections being made.
Right.
But yeah, that's definitely one of the best renditions of that song from that.
Yeah.
I'd
When
say.
Hunter hits the first few notes and you just hear the crowd going absolutely insane. That is like one of the coolest atmospheric mic moments for sure.
I was very happy to hear that pairing back in action over the New Year's run for sure.
Yep.
They go
Very cool. Very cool. Want to get into a topic that we've kind of stayed away from a little bit. I figured it'd be a good one to kind of each of us tell a little bit of story, but the transition. That was a 2010 clip. 3 years later, Murph plays his last show at the Tabernacle. 3 weeks later, we get the announcement that Murph is leaving the band. Kind of want to just go around the table and tell our story, but since you're the guest, where were you when you heard that news? What were your feelings? All that kind of what happened to you that day?
I remember I was in the bedroom of my childhood home, and I saw that come across Facebook, and I was just at a total loss. I had people start hitting me up, being like, "You see this? You see?" Like, of
Mhm.
course, I saw it. I just don't know what to say right now. I don't know what's gonna happen from here. Um, yeah, I had so many crazy thoughts. Like, is this gonna turn into a different act?
Mhm.
Like, are they gonna move forward like without a bassist entirely? Is this gonna turn into like PA STS9? Do they have a backup in mind?
Mhm.
Um,
Were you at 2013? The New Year's run?
yeah, those and again, I went to those shows. It was my first 5 night run, and I had,
Mhm.
we all had no inkling that that was, the farewell run theoretically.
Right.
So I was especially shocked when a couple weeks later, I think they had a tour lined up too, and they're like,
Yeah.
actually, no.
Mhm.
So I mean,
Uh,
I was definitely shocked. I was at a loss. Um, I didn't know what the future held. I was speechless.
what about you, Nate?
I was out to dinner with my girlfriend at the time's parents and her. Um, and yeah, those shows, there was so much positive momentum, man. Looking
Yeah.
back on those shows, it makes sense
Mhm.
looking at the set list.
Mhm.
They hit on so much of the catalog, and that 5 night run on paper is, yeah, looks like maybe farewell STS9, but at the time, yeah, you're just like, sweet. Had tickets to Milwaukee and Chicago coming up. A few, I think I still have those ticket stubs somewhere too.
Yeah.
They were gonna play the Riverside and I think Congress Theater. And her parents were definitely maybe the church going people. Yeah, great people
Sure.
as well, but people that we maybe don't want to use profanity in front of very much.
Mhm.
And my girlfriend's looking through her phone, and I wasn't. I was, chatting with her parents or something, and she just goes, she's like, the mood switches, and I'm like, what? And she's like, I don't know if I should show you right now. And I was like, what do you? And at that point, you're like, you have to know. You're like,
You're
what?
like, is
Yeah.
this a car accident we're talking about? Like,
Yeah,
what's
well, like
going on?
I saw she was on Facebook, and I'm like what
Yeah.
was she
Your head
doing?
your
And
head
then
goes to weird places.
yeah, and she's like, okay, all right, and she just turns, and I look at it, and I just let out the, what the fuck,
There's
in
no
front of her
filter at that
parents,
point.
and she's like, oh my god, and I was like, I'm so sorry. You have to understand, like my favorite thing in the world, is. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Is it
Again,
coming
it
to
was
an
just
end? I
like
don't know.
It's a question mark at this point.
Mhm.
so up in the air. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just like those following weeks of just like feeling like drifting a sea, like in looking for some kind of announcement or something like that, and thank
Hmm.
God you get that McDowell Mountain
But you never
announcement.
get an announcement. So that
No,
even that, I
not
was
for the new basis too, but yeah, go
yeah.
with your story. Yeah.
I was in Oxford, Mississippi, Ole Miss. That's where I went to school, and I had a pretty sizable group of people from that town that I did that run with, and one by one, people just started showing up at my house uninvited because I guess they just needed
Coming to
somewhere to
sit
be.
Shiba, yeah.
Yeah, and it very much was like the after event of a funeral. I remember we were all kind of sitting around, leaned forward, just kind of thinking. Not a whole lot of words being said, but very very much just kind of a shell shock after a bomb went off close to you. Um, I will say that amongst my group, we kind of came to the consensus pretty quickly what was going to happen, and that was going to be Alana that filled that spot. Somebody said, well, what about that girl on the second night? What about that one? And I was like, oh my God, dude, I think you're right. I think that might have been a tryout. And since then, obviously it wasn't. I know deeply Alana's history with the band then, but that was my first taste of her in that moment. And I'd say it didn't take, it took me a couple of days before I started coming around to that possibility. And not knowing for sure if it was going to happen, but in my head, I had kind of come to the conclusion that that was where we were going towards, and I was fine with it. But there was a few weeks really until they announced that McDowell Mountain show, where I was like, oh God, dude, we might be done. And when they announced that, to me, that was okay, it's Alana. We'll see her when she comes out. But we still haven't had an official announcement to this day.
Yeah, exactly.
To piggyback off what you were saying, Scotty, during that 5-night run, when she came out, I think it was during like Hidden Hand and Shake.
Yes, it was Hidden
Gob
Hand.
Nugget.
Gob Nugget was the encore. That was my first
Yeah.
Gob Nugget. It was Hidden Hand first, then Shakedown to close the first set. She didn't do anything in the second set, and then she came out for Gob Nugget in the encore.
And I remember leaning over to someone and I said, I don't know if it was in jest at the time or if I was 100% serious, but I was like, why do I feel like I just watched a tryout?
Interesting.
You said that, and I was like, that's how I felt. But also, like you said, in the same respect, when that announcement made, I was so shell shocked. I didn't put 2 and 2 together that she might be on the back burner for that slot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, getting into Alana, we're into the Alana era now, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the first time you saw her and your initial impressions and just kind of the start of the Alana era for you.
First Alana show I saw was, I think, maybe a handful of shows after McDowell.
It was my first one. It was Memphis in May.
Memphis in May, yeah. Great show. The mix was fantastic. They were sounding great. They were playing good staple songs.
The march was that was when they played that new march for the first time.
Yeah, they were still rocking the pyramid. I remember a handful of years ago, someone was like, they need to bring back the pyramid, and I think I dropped the picture of McDowell, and they're like, what is that? And I was like, well, they used to play with it when they first started.
Wow, you're right. Alana did stand in front of that pyramid for a minute.
Yep.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But,
you're right.
yeah, that Memphis in May show, I had a chance to go back and talk to the band afterwards, and I got to meet her, and I was pretty lit up at that show.
It's Memphis.
I just remember going back and being really thankful and just very complimentary to Alana and the band, and I think they were like still in the process of like making a new album at the time, and I think like maybe it was supposed to have already come out, and I remember like kind of pressing about that. I was like, hey, so what's going on with this new album? And they're like, but
Hunter always tells me next fall every time. Like, it's coming out next fall.
Yeah.
In the fall.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I want to jump back and come back to Alana because I have my notes out of order here. This is my bad. Tell me about the Grassroots Saxon story, because I did not your design and
we're on the timeline there. Yeah.
That came out after Alana.
Yes, that was probably only a year-ish after.
Okay.
So obviously I was on tour pretty avidly in 2015, 2016. So, you might know me as Y2 Jim if you're listening to this. There's a good chance you know Y2 Jim. I've always been taking pictures of the bands, great light looks, always tagging the light designers. And, I built a good rapport with Saxton, just kind of talking shop with him at the shows, being spot to spot, always being the first to showcase what he did that night. And, he was always very appreciative of that. I think I even got in some hot water with a couple like pro photographers because they're like, you're taking my job. I'm like, I'm not really taking your job. I'm just taking pictures and posting them. I'm excited about this, you know?
Yeah.
So that picture was taken the Fillmore Detroit 2015. And essentially they just took my picture, they mirrored it, folded it, whatever, and that's what made the hat. I think they had a pin to go along with it as well. It was like Roy G. Biv LSD
Uh-huh.
signature thing. I think this was like the third Saxton
Yeah,
hat
V3.
Graphics
Yep.
came out with. And you know, he reached out to me and he said, "We want to use this picture," and I was like, "Dude, use it, please."
Please. Yeah.
Please,
I
I'm
was
begging you.
dumbfounded that he reached out to me. I was like, "You're gonna put one of my pictures on some grassroots merch?"
Yeah.
Like, okay. And you know, he was super nice about it. He sent me a big grip of hats and pins to, you know, sell off to the homies and stuff. And really, really cool experience. I never thought that I'd, you know, see one of the pictures I took translate into some merch.
You have a great you have a great story about this, Jim. With was it at Electric Forest? You saw somebody wearing this hat, and you decided to like spark up a
Oh my
conversation.
goodness.
Tell us that story.
I think it was either Electric Forest or Workout. I can't remember, but one of these places. No, it was Electric Forest. You're right. During the act set, I go up to someone. I was like, "Hey, it's a cool hat you're wearing." Like, "Yeah, yeah, for sure." And I was like, "Actually, I had a hand in helping make that hat." And just immediately, this dude looks at me. He's like, "Yeah, anyone could tell me that." I, I was just
Just
dumbfounded. I was like, "But would anyone come up to you and claim that?"
just thought that
He's like,
he just did not believe you.
No,
Like,
he wasn't
Just
buying
made that
into
shit
it.
up, bro.
He wasn't buying into it even a little bit. Like I just completely was there to just bullshit him. And I was like, "Okay, man, enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Thanks
Oh
for
my
bringing
God,
that."
that's so funny. That'd be the last thing I would think to say to somebody that said that.
no,
to
you
me.
didn't.
Yeah, he was just very stern, like, "I don't believe you."
Oh.
Must have been the mustache. I don't know. I find it very trustworthy. Um, but
Um, so I
yeah,
got another stat here for you. So 2015 is actually your biggest year with the band.
Can I
You
guess
had,
how many shows I saw?
yeah,
Is it like 27?
you're one off. It was 26. It's one show every 2 weeks.
I was, man, there was times when I was on the road to see this band where, you know, I may have stretched the truth to some family members of mine. Like, "Oh, I'm going over to so and so's house for the weekend, this and
Mhm.
that." Because again, here's where the insanity part comes in again. Is this normal for me to be going out from state to state and going to see this band, you know, 26 times in a year? Like,
Yeah.
might be a little
Well,
excessive. I don't. So I like. They've always been so supportive of me, and like, you know what, you're going out, you're having fun, you're living your life, keep doing it. But you know, there's moments there where I was like, I don't know if they'd be stoked that I was doing this a week and a half after I just did this. You know,
well, it's
so I
funny,
felt
right?
like there was
Because
times I had to kind of stretch the truth a little bit, but you know, it's all
well,
part of the experience.
when you're younger, unless you grow up in the scene, like it doesn't occur to you that there are people that just go see the same band a lot. And I remember I was out visiting my cousin one time, and she had some friends over there, and you mentioned them earlier, they were big Dave Matthews fans, and they through a conversation mentioned that they had seen Dave, I think 47 times. And that was the first time where I was like, oh my God, that's it. You can do that. And then I remember clear as day when I saw STS9 for the first time, thinking about that couple and being like, oh, this is who I'm going to do this with. It's like you put it
yeah.
together over time.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, I want you to talk about that, right? Like 26 shows in 2015. Like, was there a period of time where you felt less engaged? And then like obviously the band started really ripping late 2014, right? And like 2015, we talk about that year a lot. We've got a couple clips from that year as well here that we're going to share. Does that kind of like pour fuel on the fire where it's like, hey, get the good while it's getting, you know?
Yeah, I think 25 or 2015 is highly revered amongst the fan base. I am not surprised that I was going that hard during that year because there's a lot of juicy stuff to latch on to from that year. It's just amazing jams, just really cracking songs open. Like, again, to contrast my Murph years, when, they'd bust out a heady song or an old song, but it would be very, I don't want to use the word cookie cutter.
By the book is what I
I'm
usually
going to use
say.
the word cookie cutter.
Okay.
There was Life Sweet Breath, 3.5 minutes from that Axed show. My first 986, 3.5 minutes. Just shorter versions. They're sprinkling crumbs, but 2015 starts to open. They start to open that catalog a lot more. They're giving you songs you probably never thought you were going to hear the band play, and then they're really cracking those songs open. I think that just really reinvigorated the fan base a lot. And we'll talk about that transfer here in a minute, but 2015 it was such hot sauce. And then you get into 2016, we're starting to bring brand new material into the fold. And I think that transfer over from 2015 to 2016 might have been a bit like jarring for some people. Just because it was like, we're Jam Machine, old school, whole catalog STS9, to now we're focused on new material that we are bringing to the table, that we put a lot of intention into, whether the fan base is ready for it or not.
Sure. Before we get into to TUI and to 2016, because we're definitely going to talk about that. Let's listen to some music, man, and talk about it a little bit more.
Let's crack a cold one open with the boys here. Like you're talking about cracking one open here. Let's start.
Can I just say something about this real quick?
Yeah.
Before we go into it. So again, this is kind of just a sleeper moment. I feel like it's at summer camp. It's a Red Barn set. If you know about the Red Barn at summer camp, I think maybe like 450 people or something get access to that, like max. And
like
those
belly
are
up in a barn.
Yeah, and you're in a barn in the middle of Peoria. This show started, I think, at like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of this, I don't know if we'll make it to the very end of the clip, but I want to say it's one of the only STS9 soundboards where the crowd is addressed "Good morning." Let's take it from there.
Okay, Zach. Hell yeah.
Whoa.
That happened in a barn.
Oh yeah, Jim, I can't
Y'all are
believe we
a bunch-
weren't like just raging together during that.
Y'all were a bunch of farm animals during that shit, dude.
Yeah, I was like, where are we going with this? I don't know if you saw in the thumbnail, but I commented on that. It's definitely like a top 3 single setter for me. There's a lot of really stellar versions of tracks in that set, but I mean that Rent, I always play that back. I'm always enamored with a really nice long Rent, but that one always sticks out to me.
I call it pound for pound the best 90 minutes of STS9 that I've seen. And you just left that show with your jaw on the floor.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was
Here,
also
we got a little bit of that, Zach.
It was one of the first times I ever like lost track of what they were playing.
Here, this is
I
Zach.
don't even know what they're playing anymore. This is great.
Here we go. They knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yeah? Yeah? What up? Good morning.
Oh, just yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You like that?
That was only the second song in.
It's like
That
he's
was-
talking to you during sex.
They got
Yeah,
his Kirk Cousins.
You like that? You like that?
You got his Kirk Cousins on right there for sure.
That Crystal and that Grow are both smoke shows.
Shock D too. The from now on ending. We're gonna be back to this show for sure on another episode.
Yeah.
Pound for pound, that's a fucking heater of a set.
So let's stay in 2015, right? Talk about the request line a little bit. I know you've got a good story around this too.
Okay. The STS9 request line.
What a time.
We'll have to play my homage some other time. I did write a Stan-esque song about it. Do you guys not know about this either?
No.
I absolutely cannot believe that this is not going to be a part of this show.
I might have dropped the ball on not sending this over to Nate.
Well, that's okay. Tell us the story.
There's time
Yeah.
for another time.
Yeah.
Anyways, the STS9 hotline was a cell phone number that you could reach out. The fans could reach out to STS9. You could text them, you could call them, try to get through, talk about whatever, ask for a request, just touch base with the band, and they'd touch back with you, whether it was brief or whatever. I know some people would call and they'd answer backstage after a show or whatever. I went to Philadelphia in 2015. This is where Matt Farley originated. We're coming full circle here.
Okay.
So at this show, I flew out to Philadelphia from Chicago on a red eye with my friend Ryan McCanna, shout out, and Ben Bedar was already there. He was picking us up. We were in Philly for 20 hours, which well worth it. Well worth it. Got a cheesesteak, hit the STS9 hotline. I hit them as soon as I got into town. I said, "Hey, it's me, your boy, Jim. Cheesesteaks are on me if you play Doom Doom or Quests," which I don't think anyone in Sound Tribe even eats cheesesteaks, but it's still funny.
They said, "Keep fucking dreaming,"
and they hit me with a "keep dreaming," essentially "fuck you."
2:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I later found out that's Zach.
Of course it is. I knew that without you telling me that.
Yeah, and who later on does in fact oblige, and they play Doom Doom inside of Grow that evening, which I'll do one more shout out to my boy Caesar. I don't think I've jumped like that at an STS9 show ever in my life, but it was very Caesar-esque when that happened.
Well, let's hear it.
Let's run
yeah, boy.
Yeah, son. Oh my god.
That was a moment. That was a moment. I had a lot of people ask me for like my 200th. Did you ask him for a song? Or you ask for? No, I can't ask this band for anything else. I literally cannot. Like they did that, which is insane. They give me a 118 for my 118th show. They've done so much for me that what more can I ask? I'm just happy to be there to see you play music for a fucking 200th time, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and for
those
some
were amazing,
listeners,
amazing moments along the way in the journey for sure.
some listeners might be thinking, hey, that sounds a lot like the Rabble, right? And then, we know that the Rabble, that part of that song comes from which came first? Was it Doom Doom or Watch Out for That Bus? I think
I think they're one and the same. It's one of those
Yeah.
like Pink Sword 118
yeah.
things where it's like a double track name.
The green jacket,
I-
gold jacket
yeah, who
situation.
gives a fuck? I do want to say I planted the seed for that like a year before.
You
Because
have
I
to.
was really
Yes.
into wanting to hear Doom Doom. That's just like it's like an old school gem. It's only on so many soundboards. I
Hmm.
felt like that was one of the most obnoxious requests I could probably make, you know?
It was, and it was
And
fulfilled.
it was at the Nashville, I think it was Nashville Halloween 2014. I was talking to the band afterwards and I made mention of it. And Alana goes, "What's Doom Doom?" And to Phipps's credit, though, right away he's like, it's like this little riff I play in the Rabble. Used to be a song. He was on it, to his credit. But
Yeah.
yeah, you guys should do that sometime.
Yeah. Kind of similar to when I asked for non-directional beacon, they're like, "Is that a song by us?" I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Pretty sure that's not a song. Pretty sure you made that up.
They're like, "Sir, this is a Wendy's."
Calm down.
I forgot to mention when we were talking about that rent earlier. That's actually your most heard song. Do you know how many times you've heard it?
Fuck, no, not off the top of my head.
Dude, this is fucking staggering. I'm gonna hit you with a couple
Let's hear it.
71 times you have heard
71
rent.
runs.
So
I'm not sick of that song for what it's worth to this day.
I pulled a list of every song that you've heard more than 30 times. This is fucking unbelievable. Rent, Inspire, Come Why, not surprising. Modular, not surprising. Modular, Hidden Hand, Hidden Fist, Unquestionable, When the Dust Settles, Grow, ABCs, Arigato, EHM, Vapors. You've seen all of those 50 times or more. Scheme, Instantly, What is Love, F Word, Move My Piece, Ramon, Really What, Shock Doctrine, Circus. You've seen all those 40 or more times. And
This is an intervention.
Calm down, son. Calm down. Stop it. Get some help.
Aimlessly Evasive, Frequencies, Golden Gate Rabble, Totem Wicca, 2012 March, World Go Round, Be Nice, Breathe In, Monkey Music, Metameme, New Dawn, New Day, Click Lang Echo, Equinox, 4-Year Poma, Globally Mod, and Tap In 30 times or more.
Sit down.
I'm not mad about any of these stats either.
No.
So good.
Well, yeah, Scotty. Let's start talking about something recent in terms of songs here. Right?
Relatively recent.
Yeah.
We're getting old, guys. This thing's about to be 10 years old.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I know. I want to pick your brain about TUI for a second. You kind of started getting into it when we were talking about that 2015, 2016 transition from really the band playing with Alana, like on a playground playing with Alana, for a full year of just, hey, let's throw me the ball and watch what I do with it type shit. And then you get into 2016, they start dripping TUI songs, and then they dropped the album. Be honest, what was your first impression of it?
At the time, I admittedly white knighted the fuck out of this album.
Okay.
And I'm gonna stand by everything that I said.
Okay. White Knighted. What do you mean?
Like there was a lot of disdain
Okay.
revolving around that release
Yeah.
and the addition of, more vocals into their sound, just different song types. But I white knighted it in the sense of that I was like, hey, this is different and it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should give it a chance before dismissing it immediately.
I think all
But
three of us were on the same side of that history coin.
Well,
I truly didn't know if you were. That was a real question. I don't think we knew each other at that point, and I did not remember one way or the other. But just it comes out, and you're on the right side of history, I suppose, because as all of us know, there is always that adjustment period. You mentioned it as jarring. It probably was the most jarring transition from a period that they were in. But people hated Artifact for the same reason they hated TUI. They said, "Oh, these vocals are terrible." What were your impressions of Marine, the Marine sit-ins? And I know you have a relationship with her. How did that come about?
Just an absolutely amazing, wonderfully talented, beautiful soul. I can't say
Absolutely.
enough good things about Maureen Murphy. Shout out if you're listening to this. I love you. Just a great person. We kind of connected around that time because, she was seeing a lot of that backlash from fan base and kind of feeling it. And I was kind of there to just kind of be like, hey, these are like a few bad apples. They don't represent the entire fan base. I don't want you to feel like down about, the work that you put in with this band. They chose you to do this work. It's amazing. And it's just, it's what I have to say about it is that art takes time to marinate.
Sure.
And like in the sense that you say people hate on Artifact. Now it's the most highly revered album they've ever come out with.
Here's the thing that I think people need to learn how to swallow is that it's the first studio release where you can hear the band playing their freaking instruments since Offered Schematic Suggesting Peace.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
they took a totally calculated risk. They had already done, the Funk Odyssey album. They did the ethereal cosmic travel album. They had done that and they took a calculated risk. They put out something different. They had made a sexy disco-esque album. And a lot of those songs are jam vehicles to this day. They're mainstays in the catalog, and I don't think people are so salty about them nowadays because, like I said, it sometimes takes time to marinate. You appreciate things more with time, and sometimes when you first are exposed to it, you're like, "That's not it," because you're off put to it because it's brand new. Humans love the familiar. They love the days of old, and I think that was the biggest. I wouldn't even call it downfall. It's people's personal downfalls. That mindset going into listening to that album.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, it's still 5 out of 5 stars for me. I think they nailed it. I still love to hear all the songs in the sets, whether they're segging into something or just a big long jam. Like you guys have spoke praises about Get Loud. It's a beast of a song. It's a jam. Totem, fucking absolute jam vehicle. So many good songs on there, and the great the vocals only complement Hunter Brown's mastery of melodies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The vocals are just an accent to Hunter Brown.
And they're not that long. They're not not even that present in the songs. We're talking 30 seconds and 15-minute songs. Yes.
Yeah. Very, very well said. Why don't we do like a quick trip back to 2017, Jim, where like me and you had known each other, right? But hadn't really like hit like shows together, and that first show we had really gone on the road and hit was Grand Rapids, 20 Monroe Live. Great show. And this is kind of a callback to what you were talking about earlier with like what grabs you right away, unquestionable supremacy of nature, right? I got one at my first show. I think Brandon and Rohan both talked about that one as like being one that's really stuck out to them as well. Scotty, you've talked about it too. So I just want to revisit that show with just a couple of clips from the version of that one from that night.
Closest thing I got to a family. United we stand, divided we fall. With this mic in my hand, recite my your mind, one CE crew is rock bomb. A message for anyone listening. See, we build and feel the energy, set to reveal the remedies hidden within these endless beats. Intentionally influential with the pencils. We welcome anyone interested in lyrics and instrumentals. And we can keep it simple, or we can dig deeper until we reach the origin, foraging and exploring through life's mysteries, history. This could be it. Lost for victory, pause for a minute. It's all the meaning. Saw the real song I like. A moment to write and figure out what's wrong with my life. There's like this ominous thought that haunts me at night. How come the real artists struggle to eat, huh? And all these fake rappers getting rich, saying nothing on beats. United we stand, divided we fall. Mic in my hand, reciting for y'all. Mr. Mind, one CE crew and drop bombs. Put the truth back into it, United we stand, divided we fall. With this mic in my hand, reciting for y'all. Mr. Mind, one CE crew.
Hunter Brown.
Chop it up, dude. Insane.
Oh my gosh. I just heard
what? You're not used to vocals and songs?
Show me on the doll where the vocals hurt you. I just heard that. I just heard a bar in that verse that really I just really like. We welcome anyone interested in lyrics and instrumentals. Come and fucking get it. We're STS9. Like that's fire, dude. I just heard that. I've heard that
I
song.
don't think I ever caught that one.
Yeah.
In that context either. That's perfect.
Well, on that note, let's get into some instrumentals from that same very song. was a good.
I had a thought during that after listening to Murph and listening to Alana, they're both great. Murph jams when they're peaking, it's just STS9 on stage and it's great and it's awesome. Alana jams when they're peaking, it's STS9 and it's awesome, but it's also like they're on the back of like an 18-wheeler going down the highway at 150 miles per hour. You know, it's just like
Anything could happen.
yeah, they're moving forward in like an unstoppable manner. And you know, I don't know. I just fuck yeah, dude. What a great Tucson.
Yeah, and then I don't think we've spent many shows not hip to hip together after that, Jim. That was
it's true.
I don't know how many times we say wow that night.
Beginning of many wows to come from the lifetime.
The wow era.
Yeah, one time, I'll just tell this story real quick. One time, Nate and I were hanging out at his apartment. It was a late evening. It was just two men. That's me and Nate. And we were listening to STS9, getting very excited, very excited.
On a Bluetooth speaker, not even like my
on a
stereo.
Bluetooth, not sound system or anything.
No.
And we're just screaming about how excited we are, carrying on. Nate gets a phone call from the front desk of his building and says, "Could you guys please quiet down?"
No, he was like, "You guys having a party?"
Yeah, he asked if they were having a party, and Nate's like, "No, it's literally just me and my buddy right now,
Just two men around a Bluetooth speaker.
geeking out."
Jeez, that was a great story. I forgot about
That was a highlight of STS9 fandom for sure. It was like,
Mhm.
how often can you say that? You get annoyed
Honestly,
just yelling about STS9.
I would take that night over most concerts, honestly.
For sure. Well, Scotty, I know you wanted to talk about.
No, I think you're doing Pandemic now.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get into it, right? All right. So the pandemic hits, right? Well, people who don't know, Jim is a bassist as well. He's a bassist in a band called The Feds. Got my shirt on right here. Very cool shirt, very comfy shirt. Fuck the Feds. I think Feds stands for Fast, Easy, Dumb Songs, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Talk
It's an
about
ambiguous acronym, but that's our go-to: Fast, Easy, Dumb Songs.
talk about your background as a musician first, and the Feds project a little bit.
Okay. So I always played bass guitar. I dabbled in guitar a little bit, but I always played bass guitar since I was 12 years old. I got my first bass, and I was pretty active in playing music and writing music and playing in bands till I was about I want to say 20. Then kind of just like drifted apart from the people I was playing music with. We're starting to grow up. People have different things going on, jobs, and I kind of became a spectator more than a player for a long period of time. Let's just say that big window of time I was going to see STS9. I kind of stopped playing almost altogether just to kind of become a fan and a spectator, like I said. But, you know, fast forward to pandemic and COVID and everything like that, people are trying to find peace of mind, trying to find some hobbies, trying to do something to consume, you know, big windows of time that they're not used to having. I started listening to some old recordings of bands of mine from the past, and kind of just set a goal in mind that, hey, I'd like to get as good at bass as I used to be when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. Kind of hearing some of those things like, oh, I wasn't too bad. Like, I'd like to get back to that. And it kind of like sparked a flame. So I went ahead and bought a new bass, kind of started dabbling around with it a little bit more, kind of started playing along to things I used to know, and kind of getting back onto a just more on par of just being able to navigate the fretboard and everything. But shortly after that, you know, they were doing their lively sessions and stuff. All the band were doing different things. So I decided to reach out to Alana, who better to take, you know, advice from or lessons from, you know, someone you admire and you look up to. And, you know, so we got connected through the lively program. I took 2 different lessons with her where we went over quite a bit, but even just within the first lesson, just she shared just tons of invaluable information with me that I had never known when I was younger, or was never, was too stubborn to hear when I was younger. I was on my own tip of I'm self-taught. I can hang with the people I'm playing music with, and that's good enough for me. But, within our first lesson, she told me a few things that I'd never heard before. So it just kind of gave me a different approach to playing and finger placement and so a number of different things that I never was aware of before. And just, she's a consummate pro. So I took those things to heart and I kind of started adapting those into my playing. And long story short, started a band. We've played somewhere around, I don't know, 30, 35 some odd shows since 2021, 2022. I think we're going on 3 years as a band.
Nice.
And I did our own little breakdown the other day. I think we have like 40. We cover music from 42 different artists. We cover 130 different songs. And it's just been a really cool journey. And I play every day thinking of what Alana told me. And I think of that information all the time. And I try to just become better at what I do. I keep that in my mind at all times. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
man.
what an awesome opportunity that a crappy situation presents.
Yeah,
And
yeah, absolutely. And I was just like, it's time to play music and harness that. And I know musicians from over my years of playing, and just, I have a big network of people, which is great. Couple people, I was just like, hey, you interested in just playing along with this? And it just all kind of came together. So really grateful for that. And with that being said, we do play punk music, a lot of punk covers, some alternative rock stuff, 90s stuff, but I am still influenced by STS9, even though it's a completely separate genre, completely separate world. A thing that I really take from them in what we do is I do mashups of songs, and people eat up.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
love that. No matter when you are hearing one song and another song you're familiar with creeps right into it seamlessly, people really like that. I can speak for that. I've always liked when I've seen it happen, and I implement that, and people seem to like that. We do Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads into Where Eagles Dare by the Misfits. We've
Nice.
done we do Where Is My Mind by the Pixies into Say It Ain't So by Weezer.
Sick.
Yeah, a couple different things like that. And people just eat it up, especially like you think it's the end of the song, here comes something else, and it's just seamless, and it keeps the energy going. It's not that hard stop. It's, oh, I'm still amped up from this, and then I didn't see that coming. This is fucking cool, So that's kind of what I adopt from them. And that
yeah, Girl Talk made a whole career out of it for sure.
absolutely.
Jim, you're a great frontman in that band. Do you think you shade more towards Murph frontman energy or Zach Velmer frontman energy?
Listen, I love Zach, but I definitely adopt the Murph frontman approach. It's a little more less less humble, more rock star kind of party guy. We'll drop some woos for sure.
Yeah.
We're here having a good time, and everyone who's in the crowd is having a good time with us. We're all here together. Like I said, it's just kind of that I'm making that warm welcome feeling. I like to get the crowd involved. I like to get people singing, get up on stage if you wanna. It's kind of a no holds barred thing.
I love it. So for our last clip of this episode, we were in a bit of a pickle because your first 3 shows are nowhere to be found recording wise. So we did the next best thing and went with your 200th show. We grabbed a clip that actually got cut from the review episode last minute, and felt like a very good excuse to bring that one back up and talk about it a little more. So we'll get into it after this.
Yeah, it was a big mistake, honestly, that cut, because going back and listening to it a few times, and Jim is the first person in the room that says throw some STS9 on, but some people say like throw '04 on, throw 2015 on. The first thing he'll say is play something recent. So here's something recent for you.
I can't wait to do a Get Loud episode. fucked up last time.
That song sounds like riding into battle, like on the back of a horse.
Yeah. Mel Gibson's
Oh.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Just somewhere.
Man, so it's 200 shows, Jim. How special was the 200th for you?
Man, it was I couldn't even put it into words. There's a lot of reminiscing leading up to that night, and just glad I'm able to talk about it with you guys. Appreciate you giving me the platform, and I've met probably upwards of 1,000 people through this band, whether I'm acquainted or I know you. It's been it was a culmination of a long journey, half my lifetime, 17 years. So, I
Mhm.
mean, like I said, there was nothing I could have asked for. Just super grateful to be there and experience it for 200th time, which is like unprecedented. I remember, I think Scotty mentioned earlier, someone saying like, "Oh, I've seen Dave 40 something times." I remember the first time I proclaimed to someone how many times I saw STS9. I think it was at New Year's Eve of my first New Year's run at the Wells Fargo Theater in Denver, which they will never be invited back to. Um, I think I was front row New Year's Eve, and there was a young buck next to me, like, "How many times have you seen STS9?" And I want to say at that time it was 12 times.
Mhm.
And I was like, 12 times. And he was just like, "What?" And I
That's a
think
lot
about
to
that all
his
the time.
defense.
I wish I
Yeah.
could look him in the face now and be like, "It's my 200th time."
And it happened on December 29th, 2024. That was Get Loud and Inspire Strikes Back from this past New Year's run for those
Beautiful.
listening here. But
So we're gonna get into, well, I guess these first couple of questions are not exactly quick hits, but overall, you couldn't have walked me better into this question with that answer about your 200 show. Overall, how have you noticed the community evolve over the years?
I feel like it gets more and more tight knit, honestly. I met a couple people this run that, I wasn't super familiar with, but they're just as deep in it as we are. And, I think some of us have like maybe like are a little bit guilty of like, "Oh, I don't know that person. How do I not know that person yet? I've
Yeah,
been around
sure.
for 200 shows or whatever." But
Yeah.
like, it's a big world we live in, and a lot of people like this. Like, it's not just us. And I think more
Sure.
and more people are getting turned on to it. I know I work with a lot of my younger coworkers. They're into it. They're more like the Lost Lands type crowd or whatever. But like
Mhm.
they see that and they're like, "Whoa, like electronic band.
You can do this
yeah.
with instruments?
This
Yeah.
is real. This is a thing. Not just
Uh-huh.
one guy behind a fucking DJ deck.
Mhm.
Um, but I see it growing, and the people who have been there for the long run, I feel like are probably just tighter than ever.
Mhm.
There's a small subsect of people who fall off and they go pick their other third tier jam bands to follow, and that's their choice. And I wish them the best, but they'll still pop up from time to time when we see them because they're still trying to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
Right.
I said in my post I made for New Year's run for the playlist, if you could bottle the feeling of being at an STS9 show, they would totally do it, but you can't do it because it's a here and now feeling. And if by chance they could, they wouldn't be able to keep it on the shelf, and you'd have to go with your third tier jam brand of toilet paper, like COVID. It's not going to be Charmin soft, but it works, but it's not quite the same.
You're getting
Sure.
Jewel brand
Yeah, no,
select, signature select.
yeah, sparkle toilet paper. It's just not it.
Well, let's talk about the involvement in terms of the band. Like, for you as a musician, like, what impresses you most about them and their like, and talk about a little bit you've seen of them evolving.
I mean, just from when Alana joined the band to being there for the formative years of her. to where they were kind of in that, like I said before, like cookie cutter stage where they were like feeling these songs out and she was learning them. And, they dive deep into a couple of them here or there. But then, by the very next year, they're cracking these songs open to 18, 20 plus minutes. Just to see that evolution within a year was incredible.
Mhm.
And like I said, I and people have kind of clowned on STS9 historically. Oh, it's not a jam band. They don't jam, this and that. And when I, first started seeing them, they kind of didn't jam that often.
Mhm.
But now I think they could go toe to toe with pretty much anyone.
Mhm.
And I'm thoroughly impressed by that. Every time I see them, they're, taking things to the next level. And, then later on, they introduced the modular jams, which added a whole new layer to their sound. And, they can grab onto that whenever. You could slap a modular on anything and, it adds 10 minutes to the song.
Mhm.
And depending on how good it is, it's just like, go ahead, keep going. You don't got to stop. I don't care,
Yeah.
Of course. What's the wildest length you've ever gone to see the band? It was you might have already answered. Is it Philly, the 20-hour turnaround?
Say the question again one more time.
What's the wildest length you've ever gone to see the band?
The wildest length.
Yeah, any quick turnarounds, longest trip? I flew to
I
Chicago
mean,
for
some that
8
come to
hours.
mind is that Philly trip is 20 hours in Philly.
Sure.
Definitely, I didn't sleep for any of that. I don't recall sleeping at least. It was show up, do business, get on the plane. You're lucky they let you on the plane.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Another one that comes to mind is I went to workout one year. I saw STS9. Um, I wasn't really crazy about anything else on the lineup. And I'm always kind of like that too with like afters and stuff. I'm just like, man, I just saw the main event. Like,
Mhm.
what else is there?
Yeah.
Right.
Not to sound closed-minded or anything, but like I know what I'm here for.
Sure.
So one year at workout, I saw STS9. I went back to my car, contemplated for a little bit, and said, you know what? Instead of sleeping in my car tonight, I'm gonna drive 5.5 hours home at midnight and just go sleep in my bed. So that was one of the crazier things I've done too. I'm sure there's crazier things, but those are a couple that come to mind.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite places you've seen them? Could be cities or venues, or what
Um,
stands out for you?
Man, there's nothing like seeing them at Red Rocks. I don't know if that sounds cliche or if that's played out thing to say, but man, they never sound more huge than at Red Rocks. And just like that, I haven't been in a couple years. I'm really looking forward to going back this year. Granted, they announced those dates, and just man, it's an experience like no other there, especially when they're like, oh, 3 sets of STS9. And like I said, it's like, go ahead, keep doing that because that's what I'm here for.
Mhm. You've also that's also a state that ties you for your most shows. And you've seen them in Colorado 47 times, and you've seen them in Illinois 47 times.
Love that.
Really, the same
Yeah.
amount of time in both states.
Same amount. Yep. 47 at each.
Somehow never got roped into moving to Denver. Seems like that was pretty close for a while there.
I
Though.
mean, if you saw your stats, you might think you lived in
Yeah,
Denver.
you might.
What's your favorite year or favorite era? It doesn't have to be a year, but however you kind of section STS9's catalog.
I think my favorite year of the band with Murph was probably 2011,
Okay.
and I think my favorite year with STS9 is somewhere between 2015 and 2019.
Okay.
Mhm. Love that. Scotty's a big 2019 guy for sure.
I gotta say, I might agree with Scotty. We don't know. I don't know if they ever reached their true potential that year, but what they did was wildly impressive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just to kind of round it out, what has kept you coming back for damn near 17 years?
Um, Great music and a great community, people like you guys. Um, Again, my 200th show, that was another thing that I just, I took a lot of inventory of like, man, like I met some really great people throughout this band. 17 years of traveling and however many states. I'm grateful for all those experiences, all the people that I've danced with, all the people that I've said wow to, all the backs I've slapped, all the fist pumps. Like, that's what keeps me coming back, is sharing that excitement with this group of people,
Oh, fuck, you teared me up. This is the first time I've gotten teared up on the podcast. Just listening to you do that, like, really got me a little emotional. That was awesome.
That's here. It's from the heart, baby.
Yeah, me and Nate also did chest pats simultaneously. I don't know.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I saw that.
So, all right. So we have arrived to the part that, honestly, Jim, I haven't told you this. In my head, I kind of always knew you were going to be the first fan.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate you guys having me. Like, this is a great opportunity to talk about one of my favorite things in the world. I know it's the same thing for you guys.
Yes.
And so let's just share that excitement. That's what it's all about.
So, getting into some of your favorite things in the world, the reason that I knew that this probably was going to be our first fan cast is because this segment, these two questions I'm about to ask you, I've had in my head since before we did the first podcast. Something that you and I both share another love for is professional wrestling. My dad got me into it as a kid. Some of my best memories with him, he passed away. I kind of put it away when he passed. And recently, actually, in the pandemic, I kind of have been getting back into it, and I know that's something that you and I kind of share. And so I want to ask you two here. Personify each member into a professional wrestler of any era, based on whatever your criteria is.
Start sharing them, Nate. Let's go. Let's start with Zach here.
Oh, I was wondering who you're going to make Shawn Michaels. Let's go.
Zach is the Heartbreak Kid.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, just personifies sexy boy, Mr. Hot Stuff. Like, you make the rules and we will break them. That's Zach Dahmer. That's the Heartbreak Kid. I couldn't have paired it any easier.
No way. No way. Oh,
Jeffrey Lerner is Rob Van Dam.
Hell yeah.
Fucking show.
Of course.
Because he's a Zen master, he's a yogi, and man, he could just do it all while just smoking endless amounts of weed.
Oh, Jim, you are fucking crushing this.
Respect for that. Much love to my man Jeffrey Lerner.
Okay. Oh my God, Jim, you're so good at this.
Okay, David Phipps.
Walk me through
David Phipps, a man of many faces, a man of many eras.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we've got, Fedora, clean cut Phipps. I guess that would probably fall into the dude love category.
Sure, absolutely.
Cactus Jack, the modular man bun glasses.
And you got short hair Mankind Phipps.
Oh, we got Mankind. The three faces of Phipps, the three faces of Foley.
This is funny to me, and I don't even know anything about wrestling. This is great.
I said this to Nate earlier, and his reaction was just like, "Oh my God, this is great." I was like, "Do you know how great it is?"
I am so happy I gave these to you before the episode.
You nailed this. You nailed this one, Sky. I was very excited about this.
Oh, yes. Yeah, of course. I didn't do this exercise. I had this thought in the episode that I should have come with some too. But
all right, for our listeners, Hunter Brown
and Dwayne the fucking Rock Johnson. Talk about
the most electrifying man in all of STS9.
Yes.
Hunter Brown, the people's champ. He does it all. I can't say enough good things about Hunter Brown. We could talk about Hunter Brown all day.
I love how similar he looks to The Rock in this picture.
He's electrifying, is he not?
Dude, the button downs. We've had multiple sightings of button down STS9 this episode.
I think that's a Tommy Bahama he's wearing. It's got to be.
I know. He's kind of in his dad bag right there. But it's like also a very Rock-esque shirt,
Yeah.
Wow.
It's one of the Rock's $500 shirts.
I can't wait to see who you got Alana as. China.
The eighth wonder of the world.
Oh, rest in peace.
Only woman to hold the Intercontinental Championship.
The men's Intercontinental
Also-
Championship.
Also, the only woman to be in the men's Royal Rumble.
Oh,
Pretty short, Alana can hang with the big boys. She's a force to be reckoned with.
This is amazing.
this is the best thing we've ever done. Oh my God, Jim.
We're gonna have to cut this into a separate video, honestly.
Yo, no, this is definitely a clip for sure. Do we have any? Oh my.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do I need to even say anything about this besides
David Murphy.
Murph got that Ric Flair drip, and that's the end of the story.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mr. Shepherd. You absolutely smoked that one.
Thank you
Wow.
for setting it up.
Wow. All right, we got
Set
one
him up, I'll
more.
knock him down, Scotty.
We got
I-
one more. So you got 5 more to knock down. What you got, Nate?
I've got a special Jim Shepard version of giving hot takes here. All right.
Okay. Hold on. No. We got one more wrestling song. One more wrestling question.
Gotcha.
Let's wrap
Okay.
up the wrestling segment.
Yeah, we can do
Okay,
real
my
quick.
bad.
We can do real quick on this one because this one doesn't require as much multimedia. Give me your personal top 5 wrestlers of all time, but replace their theme songs with STS9 songs.
All right, we're going with number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
He's coming out to Menacer.
Oh, yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Number 2, the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Absolutely.
He's coming out to Inspire Strikes Back.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of breaks in that song where I could just see him showing off the title or just going, "Ooh, yeah," spinning around and shit.
Uh-huh.
Man, it's Inspire Strikes Back, man.
Fire striking back, once again.
It's an interplanetary escape vehicle.
It happened so fast you can't even talk about it.
Hunter Brown, yeah.
Into the crop. All right. Third,
Number 3.
we got the Undertaker.
Yeah.
He's coming out to Dusk.
Yes, he is.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
He's coming out of the
Uh-huh.
coffin to get dust.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's popping out of the coffin. And he's scaring
that's
your grandma.
great. That song kind of sounds like a wrestling intro song.
It does.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
All right, 4.
Mick Foley.
Yes, of course.
He's coming out to Unquestionable.
Yes, because he's a fucking basket case.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, absolutely. I think Mankind's personally my number 1. He was my favorite when I was a kid.
It's hard to beat Mick Foley. And what
Yeah.
a hell of a guy, too. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And finally, we have The Rock. And
Cool.
tell me he's coming out to any song but When the Dust Settles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's electrifying, man. Dun, 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 dun.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that part of it. Absolutely.
Yeah, you see it.
Uh-huh.
You smell
Yeah,
it too.
Smell
Smell
it.
it.
You smell what I'm cooking.
Oh man, thank you, Jim. This is my favorite 10 minutes that we've
Dude,
ever had
you
on the
are so
podcast, man. That
welcome.
was so good. We gotta give a Nate hot take.
Yes, this one is special for Jim as well. One of Jim's other favorite things, along with one of mine and Scotty's other favorite things, is Kanye West. And there's not that much shame behind it when it comes to his art. Okay. We've seen some Kanye West covers. I'm pretty sure we've got some Kanye West fans of his music in the band. We've seen Move On Up, which they, in parentheses, put as Touch the Sky, right?
Yes.
We go back, we've seen him play The Workout Plan. Give me more Kanye West covers. Give me an Axe the Cables All Falls Down. Tell me
Wow.
that wouldn't go off.
Wow.
Give me a Father Stretch My Hands modular. Do 808s and Heartbreaks modular. I don't even care, dude. I
a
mean,
love lockdown modular.
Oh my God. I can't even follow these suggestions. You guys are killing me.
Jim,
this is-
anything else? Yeah, what else could they hit?
You know what I think they could do? Really nice, like a end of a set, like a from now on into Devil in a New Dress.
Oh man, jeez.
Wouldn't that be fucking cool?
Oh, that would be so cool.
Put it in the universe, boys. Scotty,
This-
any thoughts
this-
on this?
I
I know this isn't a hot take within this group of 3 people, but it's going to be a hot take amongst the fan base.
Scorching hot. We're not supporting the man, guys.
No.
This music matters to us. We didn't vote for him. We don't co-sign any of his dumb shit outside of the music. We're talking about music here. Let me
Remember,
see
we're
here.
all insane. Remember? He's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
insane.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I do have one. Let's go. Let's go EHM into an on-site modular.
Ooh.
Or no,
Ooh.
Atlas.
I knew you were gonna go use this.
Hold on,
Yeah.
Atlas into an on-site modular.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it uncomfortable the whole time.
Just abrasive. Let's
Yeah, feel it in your skin.
I'm with
That
it.
was
I'm with
fun.
it.
Yeah, more Kanye West covers. Do it.
Okay, I'm down.
Yep.
Here for it.
Well, gentlemen, this has been awesome. We just keep saying this every week, but this is just so much fun. Appreciate your time, Jim. Appreciate everything you've done for us as friends. Everything you've done for the STS9 community. You're an integral part of it, man. You're a keystone of the fan community, and just keep doing what you're doing. And hopefully, you guys had as much fun as we did. We'll be back next week, I believe, back to the wave spell format, Scotty. We're gonna be unleashing. Yeah, we're gonna be unleashing the results from what people thought about our clips the previous night. But guys, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Subscribe to Bandcamp. Like, subscribe wherever you're listening, whether you're watching on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Music. And much love. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me, guys. Much love. Peace.